This will be a review of the Atoto S8 Premium Entertainment System with fast boot. Watch this. So if you follow me on TikTok, you already know what it is. This is the $300 Camry. I found this on Facebook. The guy said it didn't run, it needed a starter. So we showed up with a starter and jumper cables, and we put the brand new starter in, fired this thing up, and drove it home. We have done minimal work to this thing, including putting a battery, valve cover gaskets, spark plug wires, and a few other little minor insignificant things. Other than that, this thing does run good. The only downside is it does have an oil leak on the front timing cover, but we're not going to worry about that. I resolved most of the oil leaks on the upper end with a new gasket, valve cover gaskets, cam plug, and stuff like that. So, welcome to the series, installing things on my Camry that cost more than the car itself. This car is mostly stock. Now, the first part of the series I did before I actually created the series. We installed a set of $400 train horns and compressor in the trunk. I'll show you guys that later. We do need struts. That'll be on another episode. But I want to show you something. Well, let me walk around to the other side here. So we do have a new battery. We had to do that. If I go over here, you'll see that everything is stock. We have a stock radio, stock speakers, stock everything. Now, I want to bring a little bit more functionality to this car. So what we're going to be doing is installing a Android head unit. We have here the Atoto S8 Premium in-dash entertainment system. This will have navigation. You'll be able to run any Android app on this. You could run YouTube. You could play games on it, watch movies, tether it to your phone, whatever you want to do. Now, this is the 7-inch version right here. Has a pretty good resolution. It has, I believe, 3 gigs of RAM plus 32 gigs of internal memory. Has provisions for an SD card if you want to expand that. I believe up to 512 gigabytes. I can't remember off the top of my head. They do have a 10-inch version of this if you have a newer vehicle and you want to have the larger display. For this car and Aero specific, I figured the double DIN 7-inch would work perfect. I also should mention that they've done a lot of work on these to make sure that they boot up fast. A lot of the off-brand Android head units will have problems where they take too long to boot up every time you turn the car on. That can be incredibly annoying, but they've put a lot of work, research, and development into making this one of the best interfaces for the end user. And we're going to test this all out. I'm going to document this and post this series on YouTube. The cool thing is it comes with a bunch of different mounting options. It does give you these mounting brackets. I'm lucky enough on this car, I'll be able to use the brackets that are on the radio. It should just be a pull out, wire everything up, plug in, and put back in. It should take less than an hour on this vehicle. It might take a little longer to put in the reverse camera. This is a, was it a 1240 or 1280 by 720 or something like that. Pretty good resolution. And it does have the red, yellow, and green lines to help guide you. And it comes with a mat to place on the ground behind the car so that you can line this camera up perfectly so that you know exactly how much distance you have before you hit something. Now, this harness right here requires a couple connections that are not plug and play. You have to probably wire into your reverse tail light to trigger it to come on, and then I believe you have to put it into an ignition power on source under the dash, which I already have all those for other things that I've put in, so it should be fairly easy. And of course, it does come with all your standard stuff. The one thing I really do like is they give you a frosted film and a clear film. So I'm probably going to go with the frosted one, because my hands are dirty a lot of the times, and that'll hide some of the scratches better. But it comes with a external microphone, and this does have a built-in microphone if you don't want to use this, but I recommend using this. Comes with a USB extension and a US DVR plug. Comes with your main wiring harness, frame to take up some of the excess stuff for installation. A front camera adapter, which is pretty interesting. I think we're going to end up putting one of those on. We have our GPS module and, of course, our Wi-Fi antenna. The cool thing is I have Wi-Fi in my garage. I have an extender right there. So I'll actually be able to connect this to that and do all my updates when I'm at home. or download any apps I need or anything I need downloaded before I leave the house. If not, I can actually tether my phone to this. So if you guys want to see this installed, I'm going to try to keep it short, sweet, and simple. We're going to do this all in one episode and try to keep it less than 10 minutes. And we're going to go ahead and start by removing the OEM stereo. One thing I like to do is unplug the battery just in case you end up touching something that's not supposed to be touched on a ground or something like that. You don't end up blowing a fuse. I have plenty of fuses, but it's just a good idea. So I'm actually filming this for TikTok too. All you really need is a flathead screwdriver. Just be careful if your car's nice not to mar it up. If not, they make some plastic pry tools. And you're just going to start here, work your way around, get it popped out. You're going to pull the ashtray out. And once you get the ashtray out, you can kind of reach in here like this and kind of give it a good yank and it'll pop out. This will give you enough room to work. You don't have to worry about unplugging all that. You should be able to get it. Then we're going to go ahead, take out these 4 10mm. I'm going to use a drill that costs more than this vehicle to do that. I'm not going to show you guys that, but let's go ahead and get this out and I'll show you what we need to do. Go ahead and put all your bolts in a expired sushi tray that you had laying around in your car. Those work the best. Once you get these bolts out, we're just going to go ahead and pull this out and unplug all the connections. So I want to go ahead and show you guys something. I bought these adapters on Amazon for $8. They plug into the main harness and give me the colors out so that I can go ahead and splice this into the main harness on the S8 Atoto. That way we don't have to cut these for $5. I highly recommend getting them, because if you ever sold the car, you could put that back in with literally no effort, no cutting, no nothing. If you're wondering what I use, it's a 1987 Toyota and up 70-1761. Like I said, it was literally like $6 on Amazon. So here is the original Toyota. We went ahead, took off these 4 8mm to get the bracket off. Now you go see how it's mounted on here like this. So these ones have these indexing tabs right here. We're just going to kind of see where it fits. I'm pretty sure that's going to be it right there. You could see how everything lines up. Now, if we were to go one back, it still lines up, but not, the holes don't line up exactly. So I'm going to go with this and we'll do a test fit and see how well that works. I'm going to recommend not to do that right now. Just go ahead, take your screwdriver and just run them down and torque them down by hand. You don't want to strip these out because you could possibly end up getting metal shavings inside the unit. These just need to be snug. They don't have to be stupidly tight. So let's do a little side-by-side comparison. Here we have CD, AM, FM, cassette. And this thing honestly weighs about 5 times as much as this, but yet this is going to provide 100 times the functionality of this. It's pretty crazy how far technology has come. Next thing we've got to do is we want to put all this other stuff, the accessories, back here, and we want this wire harness. We don't need this. We may or may not need this, because what this will do is just take up a little bit of room in case the installation, there's a little bit of whatever. But let's go ahead and start knocking the wiring out. I'm not going to get too much into this because it's going to be vehicle specific, and if you don't know how to do this, you probably shouldn't worry about it. So something interesting. So here is the 2 harnesses. I kind of got them separated. Toyota does things in a weird way because they have 2-door cars. This would be like for a 2-door car with just the front, right, and left. You can see the gray and the white wires right there. This harness is if you have rear speakers. This gives you the, I don't know the colors, but the right and left speakers. I was kind of wondering, well, hey, where's my front speakers at? And I realized that, okay, these are the rear, these are the fronts, and then these are the main connections. So all we really have to do is match these colors to this harness, solder, heat shrink, and clean everything up, and we're going to be good to go. So I know what wires I'm going to be using. This is the adapters I bought. I went ahead and trimmed these down since these are so long. I don't want to cut these. I want to leave the labels on them. So here's the ground. We're going to start with that. Now, I can't tell you how to do this, but I'm going to put this ground, I don't know what that says, with this one, and that'll allow all the functionality of the radio. But I can't tell you guys how to do it. I suggest you follow the instructions. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all done up, and I'll show you the end result. So the wiring is pretty much done. Like I said, I'm not going to debate on how you should do it. I solder everything, I heat shrink it, I wrapped every individual piece in the Tessa tape, so if they rub, they'll never touch. Once I get it plugged in, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this harness up with more of this Tessa tape. It's like a fabric tape. It just makes it look OEM quality. Again, the brackets are on there. Next, we've got to run all this stuff for the reverse cam before we put this in. We got to get this pink one wired into the reverse light and this red one wired in to this red one, which I forgot to do. So I'll have to make a splice into that. So to get the reverse camera going, I've already got the wires pulled through the dash, up underneath the kick panel. I've ran them through the trim, behind the back seat, into the trunk, and here we have them right here. This pink wire is going to go to the positive reverse light, and that'll go to the ground on the reverse light. I'll show you how to do that. Then the camera is just going to either, you can actually screw the camera in right here, or you can use a license plate bracket, which I'm going to do for ease of installation. And then the only other thing we have to do before we get the radio in is wire the pink in the dash for the reverse cam switch, and we have to hook it into here, which I forgot to do beforehand, so we'll have to make another splice and solder it in real quick. No big deal. So pretty much you'll need to attach the red for the camera to an accessory on, which is a key on, and then the pink right there, you can see you just match those up. That's for the camera trigger. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting this harness cleaned up and ready to get plugged in. We'll get all this on, and then we'll get the camera installed in the back. And we're going to work from here all the way to the back, and we're going to get everything buttoned up. I should probably check everything to make sure it's going to work first, but I'm pretty confident in my work. So now, let me switch it back to widescreen there. Now we got everything hooked up. I'm going to go ahead and clean this rat's nest up with some Tessa tape. If you don't know what that is, Tessa tape, it's like the fabric tape they use in wiring harnesses. I highly recommend it. This is really good stuff. Let me go ahead and get this cleaned up, and we'll get going. All right, it's all wrapped up and sorted now. We should be able to get the radio plugged in and start working our way back. Let me go get that. So we got the reverse camera installed. I've got to play around with it a little bit more, but so far so good. It is actually really freaking clear. We'll put it back in park. It switches. Now I want to show you guys the main thing. We'll go ahead and shut the car off. Obviously, when you connect the battery, the initial connection, it's going to take a little bit to do its initial boot up. But this thing has something called fast boot. We're going to put the thing in, start it, and look how quick this boots up, ready to go. This is the Atoto S8. I'm going to have links down there in the bio. And so here is the reverse camera right here. You plug in the video, and then you plug in the power, and then you have to just connect it to your reverse light wire, which is super easy on most vehicles. Like I said, I ran the wires through here, through the trunk. If you have a truck like my Silverado, you have to probably run it underneath and back, or tap into the main wire harness somewhere under the cab. But I just want to go through some of the functionalities here. So we have, first off, we have Google Maps, right? You have your equalizer, which is pretty cool. And this thing honestly made my, it made this sound a lot better. So it did make this sound a lot better. You have your phone. I've got it disconnected right now. It's supposed to have Apple and Android CarPlay, which is these two connections right here. I haven't even had time to go through everything yet, but you got your Play Store. You can download apps. You have pretty much anything an Android tablet has. I mean, look at this. I can Whistle and Diesel right here. I can watch Whistle and Diesel. I can go here, full screen.
Hello guys, welcome back. We just discovered
right here, see? Look at that. I got TV in my car. Pause. Boom. Boom. And then, like, you got all your shortcuts. If you got too many apps open or whatever, you want to reboot, you can reboot, you can clean your memory. Boom, wiped it out. You got your music. You can SD card. I'm going to go ahead and get my thing and try the Apple CarPlay here shortly. We're going to do several series on this. I'll go through this more in detail. I'll have links in the bio. And to be honest, when other major name brands are selling these at like $1,200, for the price that this is an absolute steal. I mean, look at how quick and responsive everything is. We'll go ahead and shut the car off. Boom, car shut off. I run inside. I get a sandwich. I come back out, start the car, and it's back on. I have had several Android head units that take absolutely way too long to boot. So I'm super impressed with this.